Hi, welcome to Selfseeds Through the Eyes of the
Let's go.
Horse.
Let's do our
Today I'm riding Lincoln. Lincoln is a half Arab, half Trakehner gelding. I think he's about 9 now, and he came to me a year ago. He's just turning out to be just the most remarkable horse. I laughed because when we went to try him, Leslie, who's a very accomplished rider, you'll see her in video clips in the future, she tried him in the dark, and I mean, it was just crazy. She's such a brave rider, but dark, and then they turn the light on, and he's such a good boy. I mean, a very energetic horse, but sensible, and the feel on this horse is so incredible. As a horse person, you get the privilege of experiencing horses that have incredible balance, incredible athleticism, intelligence, and they're just very, very special. So today I'm trotting around in the arena. He had a foot abscess last week. I'm always marveling how you can live in the desert and have a foot abscess, but that is life. He's usually my super, super sound horse, but anyway, so I'm riding in here because there's a little bit of softness in the footing to just start legging him back up again and letting the bottom of his foot toughen up. So Dirk, the horseshoer, had carved out a pretty good area where the foot was draining. So as we go back to work, I don't know what Lincoln's future is, but he is a sale horse. I may keep him for a while. He kind of intrigues me as far as if I live somewhere, I could go back to doing long distance riding. He is just amazing on the trail. Leslie hopes that I want him to jump because he's going to be good at that. And I think he could make it to a high level in dressage. I mean, he wouldn't be like a competitive national level or international level horse, but gosh, he'd be fun to develop through the levels if I decide to go that way. So one of the things when he came to me, he had been ridden in draw reins from the person who had rescued him. Actually, the story is Brandy, the person that rescued him, I believe found him walking down the street, skin and bones. And she had him for 6 months and did a great job putting weight on him and doing his teeth and getting him back together. And then I took him from there, and he's just very special. But one of the things that happened because of his incredible flexibility and the fact that he's so forward thinking, I think when they rode him in draw reins, he got a big kink in the top of his neck, in the first half of his neck behind his ear. He was pretty, I'm going to say, bent over. So I've made a big focus to ride him with his throat latch open, which I hope to do on all the horses, but have body work done, have his teeth checked, because again, it's sort of like taking a flexi straw and cramping it over and then saying, okay, let's work now. And it had a detriment, but the year of not really riding with a lot of rein contact, but using the rein contact that I do have to kind of undo the tension points in his poll, his jaw, and the top of his neck, have allowed him to change a lot about how he moves naturally through his whole body. And you still have to work with developing the horses, how it takes contact and all of those things, but I've had the fortunate benefit that I own him, and so I could take the extra time to experiment with how to undo that really severely stuck area. The rest of his body, the body workers and the vets, they're just think he's a marvel. He just doesn't really have any, at this point, any other issues. The abscess was kind of just a life thing. So as I'm wandering around, I think about my geometric trail ride. I'm reintroducing, going over the sticks on the ground or the poles, just adding to, again, a little bit of focus, and checking his bravery. I think he'd been a bit rushed with the jumping, and so he was kind of nervous about going over things, even though he's so capable. So I've really taken a lot of time to reintroduce going over poles and small things, and again, he's so athletic. But boy, jumping, it just sucks if you don't have their minds in a really receptive thinking place. It's just like a snowball. I mean, one thing is to ride a horse down to a fence and just kind of make him get over the fence, and you know, that's one way of jumping. But I don't know, in my mind, it doesn't really count unless the horse can go down to the obstacle in a rhythm, in a balance, carrying him or herself, not nervous, and willing, and using their mind to assess the situation. To me, that's what's interesting for jumping. Now, a little bit you could see in riding, I'm working a little bit with his jaw contact because he has a tendency, like I said, interesting biomechanics from being ridden in draw reins. Even though I've had him a while now, I've kind of waited to resolve certain issues. But when you're turning, if the horse turns through the inside of their body, there is a very particular positioning and release the horse will give you also in the bridle to keep the poll and the jaw hanging straight in alignment to the spine as you're turning. And he's lost a little bit of that natural tendency. So I'm just challenging him a little bit about that. So now that's enough for him today. Just to get him, again, back to work. He had the foot abscess, and he's such a lovely, lovely, willing horse. Just an absolute pleasure to ride. You can ride him in the dark. You can ride him in craziness. He's wonderful out on the trail. Just a great horse. Oh, gate's a little narrow there. Such a good boy. And I love it because he's very aware of himself, and he's very aware of trying to work out what the rider wants or needs. Again, just can't say enough about what a remarkable horse this is. But I know in the wrong hands, it could be a disaster because he is so intelligent, forward-going, and sensitive. And it's not a mean bone in this horse's body, but if someone didn't have experience with his feel and what he's offering all the time, I mean, you sit on him and you feel like he's offering to be an advanced level horse on every dimension. And so if somebody's not experienced, those kind of horses, I think, really get into trouble. It's probably like kids that are ultra energetic and smart. They're always in trouble at school and misunderstood. So I think this is a big deal for this horse to have a chance. It's a privilege for me to work with a horse like this, and you just want to help them get down the road in a way that can make sense so they don't have to be mentally worried. When he first came, I mean, walking, he's always been brave, but walking on a long rein like this just wasn't really an option in the same way how he's relaxed, rhythmical, and now he's with my seat. That's a big difference, is now when I'm riding him, before he was going, but you couldn't really put any aids on him, so you couldn't direct the position of his body inside of itself. That's a big, big deal in advancing riding alignment communication, is that when you put aids on the horse, that it doesn't just run, but it's how the horse receives the aids inside of itself, and then how the horse goes as a result of how you're affecting the aids. So with him, he would just kind of run everywhere, and then you'd sort of hold him and sort of, I think the reins were thoughtfully used as kind of a management for him because he was so forward going. But now that he's with my seat, I can put my leg on and direct where and how I want his body to go, at what speed. And now as I start back in the arena, I haven't been riding him in the arena for quite a while, I start now to be able to have some discussion how the body moves into the contact and how he receives the contact. Because there's a big difference when you just break the horse off the contact and they kind of never really touch the contact, and having a horse forced into the contact. See, I really feel happy about having so many life experiences with horses and systems of training. At this point in my career, I'm really looking at how can you have a direct contact and an indirect contact and have the horse 100% through, supple, and going to the contact. It reminds me a lot of my ballroom dancing, because there's a level where you can ballroom dance kind of just hanging on and pushing each other around the floor. And then as I advanced in my dance training, I started to see it was all about how I created shape, balance, mobility, integrative state, all of these things, all of the pieces actually that are what I hope to share in Selfseeds, but that I started to realize how much creativity and movement I needed to be responsible for and create inside of my body. So by the time it reached the contact to my partner, that then we would create something out of that. And so I feel like that with the horses, is that the dressage has taught me how to work with the inner structure and the mind of the horse in a closer contact, but it's up to me to keep nurturing, developing, and training that awareness and balance, not only in the horse, but in myself, so that we can be two fluid, capable receivers together. And it's very different than just being on the horse, kind of telling it to go and you experience the horse. It's like you get the privilege of being inside the horse. It's very, very different to share being inside the horse with the horse and not just on the horse experiencing the horse.
Training again. Damn.
So then as you see, our ride is
Back to
over and
training again.
he's such a lovely, lovely horse. I'm excited for the future. I love riding all the horses, but this horse is really a special horse for the journey. I couldn't touch his his right ear, and just things like that. I couldn't pick his feet up real well. Just a fun horse, but now he's a good boy. Yep, he's relaxing. Go ahead and put the halter on and just take care of him now after such a great ride. He's not worried, he's not stressed, and just thinking he loves to be ridden, and so it's fun. I'm going to go ahead and wash the bit off. I love my rustic care system, so wash the bit off between each horse, because I think it's sort of like if I had to eat off a spoon that had oatmeal or something on it, I wouldn't like it. So another fun ride and day with Lincoln. Thank you.